All right, well, we are starting something new on KGET Plus, a community book club. Our staff here has started by reading the book The Women by Kristen Hanna. This story is that back in 1965, the world was changing. The main character, Frances Frankie McGrath, impulsively joins the Army Nurse Corps to follow her brother to war. As green and inexperienced as the men set to Vietnam to fight, Frankie is overwhelmed by the chaos and destruction of war, as well as the unexpected trauma of coming home to a changed and politically divided America. So joining us in studio to talk more about women's experience in the Vietnam War, we have Sherry Linford, Honor Flight veteran biography historian. What a fantastic job you have.
Yes.
And you've read this book.
Yes, I have read the book.
So for anyone who hasn't read, we would still love for you to join in this discussion, because this is all about the women who were not drafted in Vietnam, but who volunteered to serve in what was a very violent war. What have you heard from that experience of those Vietnam veterans?
You know, so we often have 2 or 3 women on our honor flights. It's just because they were a smaller percentage that served. But I have heard from men who ended up in the evac hospitals and that sort of thing that you know, this book portrays, and you know, what it meant to them.
Yes, yes. This is such a powerful story. It's a novel, so there's stories of love, there's stories of friendship, but I love that so much of this, she kept saying, I was trying to get help from the veteran services and they kept telling me women didn't serve. But she had been there.
Yes.
Why do you think there was that disconnect between what these female veterans needed and what was actually available in the 60s? You
know, I wonder if it wasn't just the fact that in Vietnam, it was the first time that women were in combat zones, and you know, but people just weren't used to that. Because I think very few women were in Korea and World War II combat zones.
Yes, I haven't heard of any. Obviously, you as our historian have been talking to so many of these women who have read the book. What has their reaction been to these words?
You know, I do not know any women veterans that have read the book. It's interesting, I was talking to one of our Vietnam veterans that came back from our last trip, and he said he had read the book, and he said that it brought up things that he had to deal with and some things he thought he had dealt with. So that was interesting.
It was indeed. It talks about the helicopters and the strange way they flew it, and the percussion from the blast that you could feel in your ribcage. It's just so powerful. You have a call out to look for more of these female veterans.
Yes, many of our volunteers read the book, and we had a great idea to have an all-nurse honor flight. But we have been unable to find the nurses.
Yes.
So yes, if there is a nurse that served in Vietnam, you know, that lives in our area, we would love to hear from you. You know, even on our next flight, we have a woman who worked in a hospital. She's a medic. She was not a nurse, but she worked in a hospital in Northern California that took care of the wounded as they came back from Vietnam.
That's just amazing. So again, read along with us with this book. If you have any connections for Honor Flight, if you have any donations for Honor Flight, please reach out to Sherry and Lily Marsh, the whole team. We love the work that you're doing for those veterans to get them back to DC.
Thank you. We appreciate you spotlighting us.
Of course, an amazing book, and I appreciate your insight as well today.
Thank you.